Yes, this is a fight for free internet, and this really has become India's biggest talking point right now, with all the netizens up in arms opposing the bid by big telecom companies who are lobbying with the TRAI right now to put in place a mechanism which would allow them to block apps, also websites that you today freely use. Be Mahima Kaul, who's the head of the Cyber and the Media Initiative, the Observer Research Foundation. Also, we have with us from Bangalore this evening Harish Bijur, who's a strategy, marketing and branding consultant. First, Mahima, to you, the point is, it's my phone, it is my money. Why should anyone else be deciding what I really want to watch?
I think that's a great question, and that's the question that TRAI has put out this consultation to ask for public comments to answer. The simple answer is this: the telecom companies have an argument that they, as data grows, they have to upgrade their infrastructure. To upgrade their infrastructure, they should then, according to them, fairly make some money off the OTT services that all of us are consuming, which includes, as we know, Skype, Viber, WhatsApp, Facebook, etc. And the main thing, the main revenue model that they see ahead of them is to cut deals with these companies, to make deals that they offer us services that are pre-decided in terms of content. So a certain company will then pay for a fast lane, or a certain company will pay for zero rating, which is that the data, it doesn't reflect in your monthly data cap. But in a sense, it happens what you just said. The consumer, his choice gets limited into what people refer to as a walled garden.
Yes, Mahima, that's the real point. And will the government intervene? That's, the key thing that we are all looking at. Harish, if I can get you in, you talk about strategy, you talk about how really, marketing should be done. But we are talking of a government, Harish, who's been talking about digital India. Now, how really is the digital India possible if, the internet access and perhaps the cheapest cannot go to each one of us, right now? And we are talking of a prime minister like Prime Minister Modi, who's used this in his election campaign. He's using this still as a part of his governance. So should he not be the first one who's going to come out and say that, yes, I stand for net neutrality? You believe that perhaps that political weight should be good enough for the TRAI to think about its recommendations if at all they go in this way?
Absolutely. I think Mr. Narendra Modi must become the prime or a person who actually pushes net neutrality. In fact, President Obama in the United States took this stance much prior to him becoming the President of the United States of America. And many say that his stance on net neutrality actually, geared his entire campaign forward. So I would really welcome Mr. Modi to come up and say that net neutrality is a must. Because this net neutrality issue is a classic case of the tail trying to wag the dog. The tail is the internet service provider who has a business plan of his, and this business plan did not, when he made the business plan, include OTT. OTT is a separate issue altogether. And I think today the ISP is suddenly salivating and suddenly saying that I must make more money than I am making, and I think that's greed. And I think the internet must remain open, it must remain clean, and the internet must be governed by users and not by people who are the pipe.
We are also telling our viewers that, our numbers are flashing on your screens. You can also connect with us. In the meantime, let's return back to Mahima. Now, Mahima, the point is, are you smelling a rat here? You believe that this is an opportunity perhaps for the telecom companies to, really make big money, and that too at the expense of you and me, perhaps?
Well, it's very interesting because if you actually read the 188-page report that has been published by TRAI, the consultation paper, you can see very clearly that telecom companies are expecting their revenues to go up by about 18 billion by 2020. Their share of, data is going to rise up to 40%, and they don't expect to actually make any losses in the near future. So in a way, it's good that we're having this discussion now, because it gives us plenty of time to understand exactly what they're talking about. Now, one thing is clear: they don't like the disruption. They are the dominant players in the country. Part of their revenue comes from voice and from SMS, and that is being eaten away by these new OTT companies. And so, of course, not liking the disruption, they are trying to come up with some kind of regulation for stability. And for that reason, they are able to talk to some of the more dominant OTT players to see if they can come up with some kind of agreements. So it could be in the form of zero rating, as Airtel has done, or internet.org, which does provide free internet to Indians. But again, it locks you into a certain habit formation because you're only used to some 33 odd websites. Now, the interesting part in all this is, and reading the paper, I felt like this is the way the discussion is going to go in the future, is that we are going to have a serious talk in this country about traffic management and infrastructure upgradation. So outside of our net neutrality principles, which I feel a lot of people believe in, that conversation is going to get a little nuanced and get a bit more complicated in the future. But I do agree. I think that politically, I think as a user, net neutrality is a fantastic principle. The internet is founded
Yes.
on it. I can click and reach anywhere, and my future company could become a billion-dollar company. So why should that be curtailed?